Hi, welcome to Linda Z's and our Thursday morning video. And today we have a very special video for you. We have the exclusive Kimberbell video from last year. It was a club that we had going on last year, and we decided we would like to share the love and to open up some of our instructional video on embroidery to all of you. And we decided to do it on the Happy Easter one. So we have, I just wanted to show you a little bit of the mug rug. So it's Easter bunnies. You get to see how it's made. If you want to, you can, after you see a little bit of this video, you can come back to us and ask us for access to these designs, and we can get you that. So there are two different sizes you can make, either a smaller size or a bigger size. And you can see here on this next picture, it's just a little bit more detail of the embroidery and the applique and different types of things. I wanted to also mention that next Friday, I'm going to be teaching in-house, in the store, the next Easter tiered tray event for this coming Easter at the store. And that's in-house and that's live. So I've got a few seats left. Please, if you're interested in learning anything about embroidery, I'd love to have you as part of my class. I think we have 15 already and we've got a few seats left. And if you have an embroidery machine, bring it along. We need 5x7 or 6x10 hoops. If you do not have an embroidery machine, well, this is the time to test out embroidery. So you should really come out to our store, sign up for it. So that's not this coming weekend, but next weekend that we're doing that at Linda Z's. We'll see you next time. Hello, and welcome to Embroidery, Kimberbell Embroidery Exclusives for the month of March. Today, we are going to be working on a really cute project. I'm going to show you what it is right here is the mug rug, which says Happy Easter on it and has 3 Easter bunnies, and it's going to be all done in the hoop. And so let's get started. Without further ado, we have the kit. This is what the kit looks like from us. So you should have received one that looks similar to this in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to go ahead and take everything out of there and just show you what's in the kit then. Let's show you. So what we've got is a large, so 2 pieces of on the bottom, 2 pieces of the printed fabric. That's going to become our backing of the project. The front will be made up of a 1 piece of the print and 1 piece of white. You have a piece of batting that will cover the whole project. And then you have 3 pieces of rectangular shape that are the 3 bunny rabbits. So you have the peach colored one, the light pink, which is actually a pleather. It's a leather vinyl, a fake leather vinyl, and then the darker colored coral for the 3rd bunny. Now, as far as thread colors, we've chosen colors that match. So they want us to have a white for a tone-on-tone white, a light pink, and that will go with our bunny in the middle, a darker coral, which will go with our bunny on the right, and then a peach colored thread, which will go with the bunny on the left. So those are the 4 colors of thread that we'll be using today. And the size that we're going to be choosing, because you both get the 5x7, and all of you will be getting 2 sizes that you can work with on this, an 8x12 or a 5x7 size. And we're going to be doing the smaller version, the 5x7 size. So that's starting off on page 4. So if you ever wanted to cut fabrics for the larger, or for another one, if you want to do more than just this one that we're going to be making from our kit, you can actually cut the fabrics. All of that is written on this page 4 of your instructions, and it tells you how big of a piece of batting, and then your cutaway stabilizer is also, the sizing for that is in there. And then you always want to cut your stabilizer. I have my cutaway stabilizer, medium weight cutaway, and this is what is the no-show mesh that is made by Floriani. We've got that. There are other brands of stabilizer that have those cutaway woven type stabilizers to keep it stable. See how it's at least 1 inch bigger all the way around? That's how I've cut that. And then I've just got the stabilizer alone in the hoop, and that's what we're starting with. So the first thing I want to get to is, I'm not sure where they went now, but I had 2 pieces of, oh, they went down on the floor. Of course they did. All right. 2 pieces of an interfacing, and this does not come in your kit, but I have cut 2 pieces of interfacing that just make the fabric a little bit more sturdy of these 2 cottons. So I'm going to take these 2 cottons. They are woven, so yarn dyed, I guess you'd call them. So they're the same color on the front and the back, but there is one side that's the front and one side that's the back, but I don't think it's really going to be noticeable. So I'll just go ahead and fuse to the wrong side, what I determine is the wrong side, the 2 pieces of, so in my interfacing, one side is bumpy and one side is smooth. I put the bumpy side towards the wrong side of the fabric, and then I go over to my iron, and I'm going to fuse those pieces to the wrong side of my fabric. Looks like my iron turned off, but it's still warm. And that I just press and hold my iron to fuse that. No steam. Same thing on the second piece. Press and hold. Oh, it's heating up again. There we go. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fused. Both of them are. So there we go. All done. That's great. And then there is a little bit of instruction on what to do for preparing the backing fabric. So here I'll go back to the page 5. They're telling us to fold the 2 back fabric pieces in half widthwise. So not hot dog style, but widthwise. So I take these longer rectangular pieces and fold them wrong sides together, so pretty side facing out. And then we will press those over at the ironing board. I'll go back over there and just press those. Just make a crease there along that one side. That one's ready to go. And piece number 2 of my backing fabric is creased. It's just for preparation purposes that we're doing this. Okay, there we go. So for now, I don't have any more pressing to do until the end of the project. So let's go ahead and hoop up the stabilizer for a 5x7 hoop. We'll put that hoop on the machine. Actually, we're bringing up the design so you can see over here that I've brought up the design. The heads of the rabbits are to the left, and so it will be reading this way, right? So we're going to set our hoop on the machine because our design is up already, so our arm has been brought in to where it needs to be. Set up our machine, so let's get one of the threads on. I do have a 60-weight white bobbin in my bobbin case, so that's my bobbin thread. And I'm just keeping it white throughout the whole project. So let's see, what is the first color that will show? And it's the first color that's going to show is my peach bunny rabbit. So I might as well just go ahead and put peach in. So I'm going to put the peach thread in my upper thread. And today I'm working on the Brother Stellaire XJ1 machine. It's beautiful. It's a sewing and embroidery machine with 11 inches from the needle to the throat. It's a beautiful machine. So it does both embroidery and sewing. So let's thread the needle, automatic needle threader. That's a wow for sure. And the largest hoop you get on this machine is a 9.5 by 11 hoop. So that's wonderful. And I believe, so this is the 5x7 hoop that I borrowed from another machine because I don't think it actually comes with this machine, but I'll have to double check that on for you guys. Let's see. Let's go ahead and press go because right now we're doing the outline of where our batting is going to be placed. So that's doing my outline. Okay, so now I'm going to, now that it's done my outline of where to place my batting, I'm going to set my batting down on top, equally covering all the way around. So it's a piece that's larger than that was my placement stitch. And I am going to now hold that in place as I stitch down. Okay, let's go ahead and stitch that down now. It's actually setting, stitching it down by putting the placement stitching for where the pieces of fabric will be placed that are the background pieces for the mug rug. So it's a 2-section area. So I'm not sure if it's going to go twice around or if it's just going to do that one time around. There we go, just once. That's good. Okay. So I can look over here at the instructions on page 5. What we just did was the stitching placed at the tack down. And then they don't want us to trim the batting at this time, basically because there will be movement of the embroidery design, so they want that excess there, so nothing falls short of that stitch line later. So we're going to first take our white piece of background fabric, and we're going to place it over the larger section of the project over there with the pretty side facing up. What you determine is pretty is up to you. Let's get over here and show that. So my pretty side is facing up, and I'm going to cover this bottom section here. Pretty much, what does it say here? I'm going to read the wording directly off of the, so completely covering section 1 of your directions. So completely covering it. Keep it relatively straight. But what's nice about batting is that that fabric, it pretty much sticks right to the fabric sticks to the batting. So it's going to stitch a straight line right across. It's going to tack that down in that middle section there, and that is over on page 5 again. That was this straight line here in step number 9, machine step number 3. And then we are going to, in step number 10, we're going to trim close to that trim line, close to that stitch line. So I'll go back over here and I'll show you that I'm going to trim the white fabric close to the top of that stitch line there. And I'm trimming only the white fabric. I'm not trimming the batting. Okay, so I've got that stitch line neatly trimmed there. And now it wants me to place my next piece of fabric. Here, I'll go back over to the instructions. So I've trimmed over here on the bottom left-hand corner. Next instruction tells me to place the background fabric too, which is this printed fabric. You can see it's got some peachy polka dotty. It's a tulip pink fabric, really cute. We're going to put it right sides together, so wrong side will be facing up, and we're going to place it. One long edge is centered along that stitch line that is exposed over here on the machine. So I'm going to center that along this, center the piece right along that stitch line. So I've got that piece, the long edge, pretty side facing down, wrong side facing up, and let's put our hoop back on in place, and then they want me to stitch the seam. So I'm stitching across those two pieces, and I'm stitching those two pieces together in essence. It's a kind of a quilt as you go type of a project here, quilt as you go. So I've quilted that. So that's finished, and I'm going to go back over to my instructions and show you. We'll turn the page to page number 6. They want us to flip that right sides up and press the seam. I can finger press the seam open. They say to use a mini iron or finger press along the seam line. And if you're using a mini iron, you can take this hoop off of the machine, but I am really just going to flip this piece that I just stitched down towards the back, and I'm going to finger press it down. And of course, that batting that's under there is also going to help keep that piece of fabric in place, which is very nice. Okay, so then they want us to stitch up here in the upper right-hand corner of page 6, they want us to stitch the background tack down line. So let's go ahead and stitch that. So it's going to go all the way around, making the outline of our project. So that's good. That's what we're about to do. Create the outline of the entire project. Looking good. I might go around twice, I'm not sure. Nope, just once. Okay, so that's finished. And it looks like they want us to use, let's see. Well, this is when you can do whatever you want to do. They're suggesting, I think, let me just see. Yeah, they were suggesting to use light pink in the background design, but I'm actually going to use a white. I'm going to use a white in the background design here, because I think that the light pink on the white background is going to take away from the... So I'll take off this pink thread, peach thread, put the white thread on, because the next step is the quilting, cross-hatched quilting design. Stitching, decorative stitching. It's really called quilting in the hoop. So let's thread our needle once again. I love that automatic needle threader on this machine. And we are in the hoop, so we can, and you can see from over here on the window that it is actually going to stitch that crosshair throughout the entire section here. So let's go ahead and let that stitch out. And then when we come back, we will do our 3 bunny rabbits applique pieces. So I'll let that go ahead and stitch out, and I'll see you when it's done stitching out. Okay, so it's finished our cross-hatching stitching, and I'm actually going to go back to my peach-colored thread again, because the next one to be stitched out is going to be the first rabbit, bunny rabbit. Let's put our, so we can stitch that. We'll put it in peach. Okay, so you can see my first rabbit is the one on the bottom section, so let's get that outline. So it's a placement stitch that we are stitching first. So stitching the outline of the bunny rabbit. So that is fully stitched out. So what I want to do is show you where we are. We're over here on page 6, a second row down, and we just stitched out this number 16. Number 16 is the outline of the rabbit, and now we are going to place this peach colored fabric, which has that interfacing on the back, pretty side facing up, and we're going to place that over that stitch line that we just stitched out. Okay, so that's machine step number 7 is about to happen. And they do want you to put some tape in, so I will put a little bit of tape. I don't always do that because I like to live a little dangerously, but for those of you who don't want ever to get a needle in your finger, might as well put some tape down. Here we go. So now I'm going to stitch down. So I pressed go, and I'm going to stitch down what they call the tack down. It's making that rabbit outline. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to take this over. I'm going to take the, whoops, I just finished the tack down of the rabbit, and I'm going to, in peach, take the hoop, bring it over to the table, and remove the tape, and then trim around. So I'm taking the applique, the peach fabric, and I'm actually trimming that away from the background as close to that stitch line as possible. So I'm trimming that. And I do have a pair of really cool curved scissors that I'm using because they get right in there. And it trims really close to that stitch line for me. This is a Famore, but we do carry these scissors in the store. Any of these fun scissors. As any of you might know, I am a professed scissoraholic, so I have a lot of scissors in my collection of scissors. This is a great one here. It's the curve that helps you get in there when it's in the hoop like this. It helps you get in there even though you're inside of a hoop. My rabbit outline is coming very nicely here. There we go. I'm going to pull it in here and just get a little bit closer. Some of these areas. Whew. Looking good. Looking really good. Okay, that's great. All right, so that's my first rabbit. And so I've just trimmed here on, still on page 6, second row down to the right. And then they want me to stitch the bunny decorative outline. So that's my next step, and that's machine step number 9. So let's bring the hoop back over to the machine, and we'll stitch that out this way. Put the hoop right back on the machine. Still got my peach thread in, so it's going to do a really cute decorative outline. So instead of a satin, it's going to be one of the patented Kimberbell, really cute outline stitches that they do. It's very cute. And then the next rabbit we're going to be doing is the pink one that is the leather. So you can see that. So we can get our light pink thread ready to go with that. So I've got both my thread and my leather ready to go. Almost done. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we are going through several leather layers, and that's why that was sticking there at the end, because there was a lot of thread, fabric, batting, backing, stabilizer, so there is a lot of layers going through there. So don't be too worried if you hear that sticking noise, that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color to pink now, because that is my next rabbit outline that I'm about. So it's the tack down, the placement stitch for the next rabbit that we're about to stitch right now. So I changed that to that color of thread. Oh, what do we have here? This guy's stuck at the bottom here. There we go. Uh-oh, what's happening here? Let me pull that back again. I'm gonna have to pull off some of this thread. My spool got a little bit tangled here. When in doubt, pull more off. Always good to have the fresh thread on the spool. Okay, we thread up our needle. And then this is now ready for the next step in the machine, which is the outline of the middle bunny rabbit. So they're going to show us where to place our leather right now. Okay, so that's our outline of our middle rabbit. Okay, so they want us to then, same thing as the other one, pretty side facing up. We're going to cover that entire stitching line. Make sure that we cover everything evenly all the way around, top, bottom, left and right side. Pretty evenly. Okay, looking good. And then they want us to tape that down as well. So we're going to tape that on both sides. They want us to tape that. So I'm going to put 2 pieces on. Top and bottom, 2 pieces. Remember, this tape is great. So this is an embroidery tape that Kimberbell makes that is, you can stitch over it and you can tear it away, even if I'm stitching on top of it here. So that's not a worry at all. So here we go. We're going to tack it down. And after we do the tack down, we'll be trimming it away close to the stitch line. So it's going to do 2 times around, 2 times around. There we go. And then let's take our hoop. Take our hoop off of the machine and bring it over to our cutting area. Same thing as before, we'll remove that tape first. Save it on the side. We'll be able to reuse this again, as long as I don't mess it up at all. And let's start trimming. So again, we're trimming close to we're trimming only the leather. And we're trimming close to that stitch line so that we can have a really pretty outline of the rabbit. And these scissors are allowing me to get in there really close, which is great. It's a really nice way to lessen the level of frustration. It's to have really good tools. Okay. This is really starting to take form here, take shape. It's just a little bit thicker than the cotton fabric was, but my scissors are getting through it really well. Okay, so let me see if I want to clean up anywhere here, maybe a little bit right there. A little bit in that little corner right there. And around this last curve here. There we go. I think that looks very nice. And then our last, to finish off this rabbit, we bring then on our page here. We just trimmed it here on the bottom left corner, and in the center they're having us keep that pink thread in and do the decorative stitch around the outside of this second rabbit. So let's go over here, bring our hoop back to the machine, attach it, and our machine is ready to do this. So all we have to do is press go, and it will stitch out that decorative outline stitch around the outside of this. Now this is where we have all those layers, so you may feel your needle sticking a little bit as it's going around the rabbit, but that's okay, that's normal. For this project, I would definitely suggest that you put in a brand new embroidery needle. If you didn't already think of that, always put in a new needle at the beginning of an embroidery project, because it is going through the project many, 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 many times, and so you want it to be in its best shape possible. A brand new needle is the best way to do that. So now I can have my third rabbit color of fabric and spool of thread ready to go, because that will be my next step, will be to make my third bunny rabbit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this light pink fabric thread, and put this darker pink coral fabric thread. I keep calling thread fabric. And I have had my coffee today, so there's no excuse for that. Oh, let's thread the needle. And then we can just press go right away. It's going to do our third outline of our third bunny rabbit. Perfect. So then that's over here. Now we move to, we just did our outline on the bottom right, of page 6. And so now we are going to place pretty side up that third piece of fabric on top of the bunny rabbit. And they do say to tape it down. So let's go over here and tape it down. Got my piece of coral fabric, making sure that on all 4 sides I've covered that placement. And I'm going to just taper down a little bit on the top up there, and then press go, and it's going to stitch the tack down. So we're tacking that down. And I believe that's going to go 2 times around the way the other 2 rabbits did as well. Yeah, to make sure the stitches are all done well. Okay, so same thing as the other 2 rabbits. We're going to take this off of the machine, take the hoop off, bring it over to our cutting area, and trim that all the way around take the tape off first, trim that all the way around, close to the stitch line. almost done with our rabbit. Our third rabbit is done. Throw away the excess fabric, and I'm just gonna trim it a little bit closer where I finished up there. Make sure there are no threads sticking out. Looking good. Looking really good here. All right. Okay, so they want us to stitch down that final decorative stitch around the outside of the third rabbit. It's looking really cute here. Let's get that on the machine. And we just press go, and it will stitch that third decorative stitch in that darker coral thread for us. It's going to go all the way around that third rabbit. Looking good. Our next step is going to be using the, they're calling for the, let's see, white thread. Put the white thread on after this for some decorative stitches on top of the bunny rabbits. Okay. So we'll take this spool off and put the white thread back on, because over here, so page 7, upper right hand corner, they want us to stitch the bunny detail, and there is a little white triangle. So you, of course, you are able to choose whatever color you want. I'm just going to follow the instructions and show you what they are suggesting as far as colors of thread and etc. Okay, and now we can go ahead and start that stitching. So we're stitching some. Wow, it's going fast. Getting those really cool designs stitched out at the bottom of each of the rabbits. Some pretty intense embroidery going on right there. So it's almost like flower petals. I think that's what the design, it's like patches of flowers that are growing right in front of the bunny rabbits. So they're pretty cute. So when that's done stitching out, we'll be back. So that's going to do that decorative element on all 3 of the rabbits. So we'll see you when that's all done. Okay, so we've finished the decorative stitches on top of the bunny rabbits. What I would suggest is that something that they didn't say in the instructions, but they had it in the first pages over here of the instruction manual, that we should use a water-soluble topper, but they didn't actually say in the instruction booklet where to put the water-soluble topper on. I would have put water-soluble topper on right before this decorative stitches. So on page 7, on the upper right-hand corner of, before you're doing the flowery decorative stitches at the bottom of the rabbits, I would have put a water-soluble stabilizer. And the reason I would do that is because, especially in the middle rabbit, it's kind of buried in there a little bit, the stitches are. So with a water-soluble topper placed right there and taped down, I would have had those stitches raise a little bit more. So especially in that middle one, right, which has a little bit more loft to it. So you can see that the stitches are sort of buried. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you. Try and bring it close to the camera. Where's the camera? The camera is right there. So you can see it, they're kind of buried in there. So with the water-soluble topper, a wet and gone, they call them. It's a sort of a plastic with bumps on one side and smooth on the other. And they do wash away very quickly. That would have helped that raise a little bit more. So it's going to be fine, but it would have had a better result if we had water-soluble topper on there. Okay, so let's keep that back, put that back on there, because we're going to do the next page tells us to do the petals in a pink color. So a light pink thread is going to go on here right now. We're going to do that first flower. So let's thread that up. And the first flower is coming. There we go. We're still on page 7. Up here, the step number 33, machine step number 17 is where we are, right here. And then we're going to do a light colored peach flower next. And then we're going to do the centers of the flowers in a darker colored coral, this color. This looks like we have 2 flowers. I didn't realize we have two little pink. Okay. All right, so the next color will be a light peach. Let's get the light peach in there. It's going to do the flower up above. Up above the bunnies. Okay, so we press go, and oh, it wants us to do one of them peach down below, which is fine. And then one of them peach. A bigger flower will be up here. So then after this is done, we'll put in that darker colored coral thread, and it will do the centers of the flowers, and it will do the words happy and then Easter. And then the decorative side of all the embroidery will be finished after the words happy and Easter. Okay, so let's get our darker colored coral thread on the machine. And that's going to do the flower centers. So there's a lot of thread there, a lot of layers, so it's going to stick a little bit, but that's okay. It's kind of like when you wear those high-heeled shoes and you know they're going to hurt, but they're so pretty. Okay, we get the center of our flower, and then now it's going to want to stitch out the words Happy and Easter. But first I'm going to trim this excess thread that's its tail here. There we go, that's looking good. So now we're doing the words Happy and then Easter. And the machine will just stitch that out, and then when that's done, we'll be back. So how's that go? We'll just let the machine go. As it stitches this out, it's going to be kind of long, so I'll just pause the video here. We'll see you after. Okay, so the words Happy Easter have now been stitched out. I've got a couple tails I'm trimming here. In the H, I can see a tail that I need to trim. Let me get that trimmed. And then we're going to take our pretty project over to the cutting area. And we're going to read what it says about the backing. Okay, so we have our two pieces of backing that are here, and they're having us set the hoop in the same direction as the rabbits are, as it is on the machine. So we set the hoop here, and they want us to place both of the backing pieces. So the fold is going to be on the first one at the bottom, and we're supposed to cover the entire overlap about an inch or so. We're just covering the project basically. And we're overlapping an inch at the fold here if we can. So let's try to overlap an inch. There we go. We're able to overlap an inch like that and still cover the entire project. All right, so then their suggestion is to tape across that entire fold. So we are going to do that, because the last thing you want is for your embroidery foot to catch this fold and then to not only break your needle, but to break, it can tear fabric, it can ruin projects. So as long as we are creating this smooth surface with the tape, we are good to go. So let's create that smooth surface by taping across that. And then they want us to tape all four corners. So I'm just taking some fresh pieces of tape at the four corners. Whoops, that one didn't work. This one's fine. Corner 2, corner 3, and I will just reuse this tape that I had down here for corner 4. There we go. I am taped and ready to go. Then all I have to do is stitch that final outline over here on page 7, bottom left, and then we're done with the sewing part. Let's go here and put our hoop on the machine. And actually I'm not going to keep that coral thread. I'm going to change the upper thread to a lighter color thread. We'll go back to the peach again. Actually, it's not the peach, it's the light pink. It doesn't really matter because none of this will show, but I am just being silly. Okay, so putting my light pink thread on, we're just going to stitch that one last time around the outline. And here it goes. Probably go twice around, if not 3 times around. And there it goes. It's going to go right over my tape, which is fine. It's because that tape is creating that smooth surface that we talked about. Same smooth surface, going around twice. Once it's gone around once, it will definitely go around. The next time is smoother. And our project is almost complete. Okay, so twice around. I wasn't sure if it was going to be once or twice or 3 times. Okay, so it's going to be all done. I don't know if you heard that, but it says finished embroidering. So we say, okay, that's great. We can take our project off of the hoop. I'm going to bring it over here. And it says remove the project from the hoop. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take all our tape off. So as you can see, it does tear right there at the stitching, the tape does. Taping, tape, tape, tape. Tears away. We take all 4 of those pieces off. And the 4th corner over there is off. So let's go ahead and grab our handy dandy screwdriver tool to loosen the hoop a little bit. And we take the project out of the hoop this way. There we go. Set our hoop aside. And they're asking us to trim all the way around at 1/4 inch. And then once we've done that, let's start doing that first. Trim this guy all the way around at 1/4 inch. I'm eyeballing my 1/4 inch. It's a lot of layers I'm going through there. Side 2, side 3. You could use a rotary cutter with this for this. Rotary cutter would have been just as easy, I think, if not easier, but I love these Karen K. Buckley scissors. They just cut through all these layers like butter. It's very awesome. So would a rotary cutter though. So, all right. So I've trimmed that. And what they say after you've trimmed away those and discarded all that, to take the corners and trim once without stitching, cutting through the stitches, cut close to it. And then once more, a little bit on each side. So you're exposing that corner, but you're not cutting through the stitches at all. So we cut to the corner, but not through the corner. On all 4 sides, we'll do that. And then I'm going to show you how I use my handy dandy Floriani turning tool. After I get these all trimmed, so there's a lot of waste there, throw that away. Cleaning up my working surface here. And there we go. And then I take this tool, which is this tool. We do sell this it's a Floriani R&K product called the Precision Turning Tool. And so we do carry that at the store. And this is what it looks like when it's out. What's nice is that it has flat edges so that it won't roll off a table if it's at an inclination at all. It will just stay there. It's very nice. So it's got a rounded edge here, and we're going to take this project and we're going to flip it to right sides out. And as we do that, we can poke the corners with our turning tool, precision turning tool. Poking those corners very well. There we go. Corner number 1. Corner number 2. I need to make sure my iron is on, because this is when I'm going to try and turn my iron on again. Turn the second half right side out. Use my precision turning tool to poke the corner. And not just the corner, but all the way around. I'm rubbing it all the way across, and all the way to the corner, and all the way across. Very nice. Okay. So with that, we are going to press this flat using our iron over here. Should be warm, pretty warm. And I suggest not ironing directly onto that pleather. You will probably want to use your pressing cloth. And in the guise of a pressing cloth, I'm taking a piece of cotton fabric and placing it over the top so that I can press that flat without melting any of that pleather. And my iron is not perfectly hot, but it is actually pressing it, so it is warm. It's good. This iron is getting warm very fast, actually. That's good. So pressing along, and voila. And here we're going to come over to this one and show you the finished project. Happy Easter, everyone. And looking forward to seeing you for our next month's project, which will be for the month of April. So thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.